The Midori MD Notebook is a simple minimalistic notebook made by masters in the art of notebook making in Japan. This notebook features lightly cream-colored paper and provides excellent tactile feedback while using nearly any writing instrument. But don't worry, the level of toothiness is not so hard that it won't allow for easy flowing, smooth writing and sketching to occur. I'd say that's what's most impressive about this notebook. The manufacturers found a perfect medium balance between heavy toothiness and no texture. The matte pages in this notebook feature a light blue ruling and offer an overall pleasant paper tone to write or draw on. Available in graph, lined, or blank versions, this notebook also includes a fancy ribbon marker that is so thin and light, it's almost hard to find. The Midori MD features threaded binding that makes it strong and easy to open and of course lay flat. The exposed grid-like superspine is also a nice touch. And the graph version I tested also had a cool feature in where every 10th square is marked slightly with a light blue dot in the outer margins, making counting squares and distances easy. Every 2 squares are marked with a pale blue line to make it easy to count by twos. It's small details like this that make the Midori Notebook one of the best notebooks in the world. Like many of its brand siblings, this notebook is one of the most beloved notebooks in the world. Boasting exceptional construction, varying sizes, and cover color options, along with a large feature set, the medium A5 hardcover notebook from LEUCHTTURM 1917 is an outstanding notebook choice for nearly any purpose. This notebook features high-quality threaded binding that pulls its 251 pages together in a lovely package suitable for all kinds of note-taking. Featuring 2 ribbon markers for keeping track of certain notes, the hardcover notebook, available in 20 different cover colors, also includes a handy table of contents at the beginning of the notebook. Oddly enough, it also features page perforations on only 8 of its pages, which I think was a bit of an odd design choice. The LEUCHTTURM 1917 is a pure joy to write or sketch on. I found the toothiness of the acid-free pages nearly perfect, perhaps even slightly edging out the Midori MD for how good it feels to write on. If you're lucky, you can score this notebook in a special edition color which the company makes available from time to time. With an excellent sturdy cover that feels supple in hand, the LEUCHTTURM 1917 Medium 8.5 hardcover notebook is a perfect choice for nearly anyone. Appearing highly on many best notebook lists, the APICA Notebook CD 15 is a large soft-cover notebook with some of the smoothest paper you'll come across. And despite its lack of toothiness, it still takes most inks quite well and is a pleasure to write on with almost any type of pen. However, I would recommend staying away from this notebook if you plan on using fountain pens extensively. The feel of the paper in the APICA notebook is unlike any of the other 50 notebooks I've tested. When writing, it almost feels like you're gliding on top of plastic that has been specifically engineered to feel good when putting pen to paper. I noticed immediately that the APICA notebook, which lays flat quite nicely, shows ink colors better than most any other notebook. It's truly in a league of its own when it comes to making colors pop on the page. Unlike the Midori or LEUCHTTURM, the APICA notebook features a slightly off white color and is not nearly as creamy as those aforementioned notebooks. The retro cover design is perhaps where the APICA gets its lowest marks from me, as it's simply not a style I'd normally want on a notebook like this. Some may disagree and find it classy, but I would prefer something more modern. Featuring a light gray ruling, this Japanese-made notebook includes an option for numbering your pages and a date field at the top of the page, thus making it a great choice for daily note-keeping or for students who want to know class dates at the start of each note. The DINGBATS Wildlife A5 notebook has been my daily driver for years. It's an excellent notebook in almost every respect, and I'm happy to see that the company continues to offer it in 13 different color options. Each version of the notebook features a different animal or wildlife scene, and that's part of a broader shtick the company runs with, as it donates 2% of its revenue to the World Wildlife Fund UK, a noble cause to be sure. Featuring a double polyurethane faux leather cover with a nicely embossed animal or wildlife symbol, the DINGBATS notebook also sports well-rounded corners on the body and sheets. The built-in rubber band helps keep your notebook closed when not in use, and if you're into a medium cream colored page, you've definitely found the right notebook. The DINGBATS offering is an excellent overall notebook as it features binding that allows the book to lay flat quite easily, and includes a myriad of other features to justify its inclusion on this list. And as a final touch, the DINGBATS notebook holds to its theme by including a cute animal footprint pattern on the inside of the cover. It also happens to feature superb quality paper that you'll simply enjoy writing on for hours on end. Now we come to something a little bit different. If you're looking for a great little travel notebook that will wind up looking like something Indiana Jones would keep notes in, you found it. Made from brown craft paper, this spiral ring notebook feels solid, and the brass spiral rings feel like they could survive plenty of wear and tear. Following the theme of Japanese notebooks featured here so far, this notebook's cover is made of thicker, cardboard-like material infused with resin to add extra toughness. It also features a nicely embossed camel logo on the bottom right corner of the front cover. Before deciding on this notebook, consider that it would probably serve nicely as a travel log, sketchbook, or journal. Because of its spiral ring, it is easy to use both horizontally and vertically. The paper is relatively thin, but it has surprisingly good bleed-through qualities. That is, it barely shows any. Every sheet of the 160-page notebook has lovely rounded corners, and you can expect a relatively high level of toothiness from the paper. I should also mention that this notebook is also available in other paper colors if the brownish is not your style. The Guissi Classic Notebook features 144 thick pages with luxurious lay-flat threaded binding. The cover, available in 10 gorgeous color options, feels extremely elegant, but beyond that, the overall performance of this notebook was excellent under nearly any pen, pencil, and marker stroke. The acid-free paper goes nicely with 2 ribbon markers and rounded corners to give each page a premium feel. Another notable feature of this A5 size notebook is that it felt much lighter in my hand than many of the other notebooks featured in this video. The paper is what I would consider being one of medium toothiness and makes for an ideal day-to-day notebook. Other features include a handy 12-month calendar index, as well as a plan achievement table. These features add 4 pages each to the total of the notebook's 144 included pages. And while the pages are not perforated, they are relatively easy to rip out and store in the note pocket on the inside of the back cover. The only real drawback to this notebook that I could detect is that it appears to be only available in the dot grid ruling option. It's hard to maintain a 5-star rating on any product, but go ahead and look around. You'll find that nearly anywhere this notebook from Minimalism Art is sold, it universally gets a 5-star rating from reviewers and consumers who fall in love with this notebook. And I'm not ashamed to say that I did also. And when my wife tried to steal it from me for her own note-taking purposes, I was, let's just say, less than pleased. Available in 9 stunning color covers, the Minimalism Art notebook features a thick and premium-feeling leatherette hardcover with a nicely textured pattern throughout. The subtle lettering on the front cover completes a nice look for the body. Like many premium notebooks, the Minimalism Art notebook features a properly tensioned elastic attached to the cover to keep it closed while not in use. But what truly sets this book apart from some of its counterparts is its absurdly thick, acid-free paper pages. How thick? Well, let's just say 120 GSM is pretty thick. So what was it like to write in this notebook? In a word, supple. Ink laid down quite nicely, along with pencils going smoothly on the low to medium toothy pages. With its low sheen paper, I found that this notebook and its pages were particularly adept at handling fountain pens. If you're looking for a notebook with a paper color that trends more white than creamy, this notebook might be a strong contender for your note-taking needs. The Scribbles That Matter notebook is perhaps the most controversial notebook on this list. Some buyers simply swear that it's the best notebook they've ever owned, while others feel like the notebook is highly overpriced. Because of its inclusion on this list, you can probably guess what I think about it. Available in a wide variety of colors, designs, and sizes, the Scribbles That Matter notebook also come in different paper thickness ratings. The A5 notebook that I tested comes in at an absurdly thick 160 GSM. While that level of thickness certainly helps the notebook score highly in various performance categories, it does add to the heft and overall bulkiness of this 153-page book. But make no mistake about it, this is a super premium journal, and the reality is that you will pay a premium price for it. This notebook ships with a hardcover slide-in box that you can use to store the notebook in a tidy manner on your shelf once you're done with it. Each Scribbles That Matter notebook uses a nice interplay of contrasting colors for the varying notebook components. The color contrasts are well thought out and generally make sense. There's no doubt that this notebook features some of the best acid-free paper I've ever written on, with just the right balance of toothiness I usually like for my note-keeping and sketching purposes. The pages tend to hue more white than creamy if you care about that sort of thing. The cover is made of silky-feeling faux leather and feels just as premium as the rest of the notebook. Renowned for its durability, I purposely gave this notebook a bit of a beating, and it's held up incredibly well throughout months of heavy use. In my opinion, the higher price of the Scribbles That Matter notebooks is more than justified, considering their plethora of features. This large B5 size notebook from Maruman is available in a wide variety of sizes. And if that doesn't provide you with enough variety, this notebook series is also available in different binding versions, including the twin wire that I tested and a glue and staple version. Made in Japan, these notebooks featured a blank header area with date, page number, and title space. Sporting an 80 GSM thick paper, the Maruman notebook's paper is much higher sheen than most of the notebooks featured on this list. It's essentially the opposite of matte and provides a very smooth feeling when putting pen to paper. Additionally, each acid-free page is micro-perforated, making it easy and clean to tear out. The resin cover isn't overly thick, but still feels both firm and bendy with nicely rounded corners. It's a relatively minimalist look cover that features a single model name, 104, and MNEMOSYNE written in gold lettering. One of the big advantages of the wire binding version of this notebook is that it completely lays flat, something I always appreciate out of all my notebooks. And because it's a premium notebook, it also features premium double wire binding, providing extra stability while writing or sketching. I was happiest with both fountain and gel pen results in all of my testing, as this notebook featured a very low level of toothiness. But I wouldn't recommend it for penciling or crayon sketching. Overall, this is a well-built notebook, and even with heavier inks, it tended to dry quickly, which was a pleasant surprise given its high sheen paper. I find it fascinating how some countries grab on to certain cultural traditions and then grow an entire industry around them. Such seems to be the case with premium notebook production from the land of the rising sun. The MUJI Notebook B5 is sold in a pack of 5 gorgeously made lay-flat notebooks featuring a relatively low toothiness paper. With straight corners and a cardstock cover, the set of 5 comes with an exterior binding color, with each notebook being different: red, yellow, green, gray, and navy. Using a glue binding system, these notebooks are quite thin at only 30 pages each, but I love their unassuming nature and slim profiles. If you're looking for a larger sized but minimalist notebook, the MUJI B5 is a fantastic choice. Pages are smooth to write on, featuring a relatively high sheen, and ideal for fountain or gel pens. Perhaps my favorite part of this notebook is that although the ruling options are limited to ruled and grid, the spacing is quite small, which is ideal for those of us who like to keep our handwriting on the small size.